Hey friends, so we are back with another episode, and I have a guest with me today. We are going to talk about all things building your email list, how to get visible on social media, and really why having an email list is super important. And I've talked about this probably a million times, but we're going to hammer it in even more today. So I have with me Tracy, and Tracy, introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. And I know how you feel. Sometimes I feel like a broken record when it comes to visibility and list growth, but it's so important. So I am
Mhm.
Tracy Beavers. I'm an award-winning business and sales coach from Little Rock, Arkansas. I'm also a wife, a mom of two young adults, and a dog mom. The two young adults things blows my mind. I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't believe we're empty nesters. And sometimes it's fun, and sometimes I'm like, meh.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. Um, and over the years, my business has evolved. So I started out like not even super niched. I just wanted to get started as a business and sales coach, taking everything that I had from corporate over 20-year career and helping people build their businesses. But it's
Mhm.
evolved. It evolved quickly in the first 2 years into the online space and helping online entrepreneurs on a global scale, which is really exciting, um,
Mhm.
ramp up their visibility to the point where their audience says, "Oh my gosh, I see you everywhere." But
Yeah.
you're not everywhere 24/7. It's just the strategies I teach you. And then all of that visibility leading to your email list growth and more leads coming in so that you can have conversations with people in the DMs to convert them or in their inbox to convert them.
Yeah. And I love how you said that. You're visible everywhere, but you're not on social media 24/7 because I am
Exactly.
also like huge on that because I think everyone has this like, I think it feels like you're supposed, like, how do I be visible everywhere without being
Yeah,
on all of the time?
right,
And it's setting up the systems and strategies to
right.
allow you to actually be visible everywhere. So, what do you
Yeah.
usually do with your clients or recommend to people to get that visibility so that they are everywhere, but they're not on all the time?
Right. Well, and I know you love a good automation and a good system. So I'm excited
Hmm.
to talk to you about that. So I have over 10 strategies that I teach in my Business Visibility Made Easy 8-week group coaching program. And the program developed, it evolved on its own based on some stuff in my business that didn't go very well. So I built this business alongside my corporate job. So very stressful sales career, two busy kids at the time. They were in middle school and high school, husband, the whole thing. And I was trying to balance it to the point where the family didn't like hate my business, for me trying to build it. But um, so gosh, my brain just shut off.
I know, isn't that fun? That's okay.
Oh
I
my
have
gosh.
ADHD and that happens to me too. So
Yeah.
it's a thing.
Literally, I blame menopause. Just gonna
Well,
blame it.
that's also, yeah, you
It's a
can say
thing.
that. It's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so the 10 strategies evolved from so building alongside my corporate job. Everybody talked about the importance of the email list, and I believe in that. And so all the list growth courses out there taught you how to identify your ideal client and create a free lead magnet and put it out on social media. And I did those things. And my
Hmm.
list was growing, but it was not growing fast enough for me because I'm not a very patient person and I wanted out of that corporate job. And so then I thought, okay, well, I'll try paid ads. Well, that
Hmm.
was a fail. That was a major fail. I've
Yeah.
tried paid ads twice in the last 6 years,
Yeah.
and or maybe it's 5 years. And I think in total, between hiring the experts and running the ads, I think I probably wasted about $10,000. And
Yeah.
so the list wasn't growing fast enough. The paid ads was a fail, and I was like, well, now what the heck am I going to do? And so what made me successful in sales and corporate was being creative and thinking outside the box and doing sales in a way that nobody else was doing. And so I thought, you know what, Tracy, you're intelligent. You can figure this out. And so I was on Facebook is my jam. It's my main platform. It always has been. And I looked at Facebook and I was like, there are so many nooks and crannies of this platform that people are not utilizing for list
Mhm.
growth. And so the 10 strategies that I developed were born out of that terrible $10,000 waste and, needing faster list growth. So it's kind of exciting. I teach people how to maximize their personal profile and make it a list growth funnel, their Facebook business page, make it a list growth funnel, create social media content, enough content for you to be highly visible each week, but without overwhelming yourself and
Yeah.
exhausting yourself trying to create it. So there's all kinds of strategies, but when you layer them in the proper order that I teach, that's where I like to call it a marketing machine starts to
Hmm.
get built for you because we're plugging the gaps and the leaks that you've got in your visibility so that marketing machine starts to take off. Your audience starts to say, I see you everywhere. And the list growth and the leads start coming in automatically every day as a
Yeah.
byproduct of what you're doing. So it's really exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that I love that. And it's interesting that you say about the ads.
Mhm.
I have so many thoughts on this because um I do help clients with ads, but it is something that you really have to know what you're doing. And there are so many, there's so much I could say. There's so many misconceptions around ads and around
Right.
like just so many things with it because it's it's something where you really have to know the data. You really have to
Yep.
test things. You do have to be willing to put in money
Mhm.
to it.
Right.
And it's very much, it's not something that's always guaranteed to work. And that's
Exactly.
another thing that I don't think people understand. They're always just
Right.
like, oh, if I pay this, like it's definitely going to be the thing.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah. They think it's a magic bullet.
nope,
Like it's like the prescription that's going to fix the symptoms. It's
yeah,
like, nope, it's just going to, no. Yeah,
no,
totally.
no. Yeah, so that's very interesting. But I love that you're using all of this to,
Hmm.
boost all of that visibility because I think that it's just such a good idea and interesting on Facebook because
Hmm.
so many people have like sworn it off. So what are
Yeah.
people like when you do a lot of your clients then use Facebook?
Yes. I will say that. So when people visit with me, they feel that way. They're like, well, I'm on
Mhm.
Instagram and I don't like Facebook and da 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 da. Da." Well, here's
Yep.
the reality. Here's the real truth. Facebook is the number one social media platform.
Hmm.
It still is. Your ideal clients are here.
Yeah.
Everybody's ideal clients are here.
Yep.
And whether we love it or not, I don't love everything about it. The one thing I do love, there's two things I love about it. One is I can keep up with my friends and family from college and all the years and not have to call them on the phone and spend 3 hours catching up. I can just look at their Facebook and, see what's going on, how their kids are doing, all that jazz.
Yeah.
The other thing I like about it is it makes me money.
Hmm.
It is a marketing tool for our business. One of my now clients, or she's a past client now, but when we did her discovery call to talk about coaching together, she was like, Tracy, I don't like Facebook. I said, I
Yep.
totally get it. But let me explain to you. If I said to you, I know of a platform where it's free. You can use every nook and cranny of it to grow your list and bring in leads. And you can actually have conversations with your ideal clients. And you can actually be in rooms where your ideal clients are hanging out without ever having to promote anything or sell anything. And just by that byproduct, you will start to grow your list and your leads. Would you be interested in that? And she said, yes. And I said, okay, it's Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And you can
know.
take, so I do have a couple of students that are their primary platform is LinkedIn. Facebook is the second.
Hmm.
And it makes sense for them because they're in the
Yeah.
career space. They do resumes, they do interviewing, all of
Yeah.
that, for people. And so that makes perfect sense. They take every strategy that I teach. They went over to LinkedIn and they rocked the house.
Hmm.
So they're kind of platform agnostic, even though I do teach, even though the first whole module of the program is Facebook groups, having your own Facebook group, all that stuff. We also end up talking about live video, which is platform agnostic, collaborations, networking, podcast guest spots. That doesn't matter what platform you're on. But yeah, don't sleep on Facebook because I
Hmm.
understand everybody has an opinion about it, but at the
Yeah.
end of the day, I am here to reach my ideal clients so that I can bless them with my gifts and talents and help them grow their business and make money for their family. And I'm here to make money for my family. And
Yeah.
if Mark Zuckerberg is going to give me a free platform to do that, I'm going to take advantage of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I know it's so funny that there's so many people because I have been leaning much more into Facebook as well.
Hmm.
And I do definitely still use Instagram. Uh,
Yeah.
so those are my main ones, but
Hmm.
I've been leaning much more into Facebook. And it wasn't that I ever didn't like it, but I just wasn't utilizing it as much.
Yeah.
And anytime that I tell anyone about that, they're always like, oh my God, Facebook. And I'm like, yeah, but guess what? It
Yeah.
works.
Yeah. Guess what?
So
Yeah.
if it works, I'm going to do it.
Exactly. Exactly right.
And that's the thing. And I always talk to my clients about this too. It's where are your ideal clients the most?
Exactly.
And it so many of them are on Facebook.
Oh, they totally are. Whether they want to say they are or not, they're here.
Yeah.
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 Yep. And they're in free Facebook groups
Yes.
and they may not say a word,
Yeah.
but they're there
Mhm.
and they see the stuff that's posted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I built
Absolutely.
a multi six-figure business on Facebook. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's it's kind of crazy. So with email lists,
Hmm.
let's talk about that because that's another one that I know so many people don't love.
Right.
And it is, it's honestly, for me, it's one of the most important things that you can actually do for your business because also, even though we talk about these social media platforms, they're really not guaranteed.
No.
Like they could look at TikTok. I mean,
Yeah.
what happened there? Yeah,
TikTok's a, hmm
it's back, but I don't even know what's going on with that anymore. It's like everyone forgot because the world went to shit and then everyone forgot about the whole TikTok debacle. So it's just like on the back burner. They're letting it run out and
Yeah.
we've forgotten, but
Right.
it, they can go away at any time. Like the people that own it can change these platforms however they want. You don't
Yes.
have control over that. You have
Nope.
control over your email list.
Yeah, for sure. The only thing we have control over with regard to the social media platforms is our ability to be visible, be
Yeah.
present, put the content out there,
Yeah.
and let it work for you to build your list. But yeah, so some there I still run into people who have not built an email list or they've
Oh, yeah.
built one because everybody told them they should and they're not emailing their list.
Yep.
So whichever camp people are in, this is something they again don't sleep on this.
Yep.
So just as you mentioned, we don't own Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Snapchat, Threads, whatever the heck else is out there.
Yeah.
We don't control the algorithm. And the sad part is that a very small percentage of your audience on social media is actually going to see everything you post.
Yep.
We feel like we're standing on the front lawn of our ideal client with a bullhorn going, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. We feel like they're going to see every single thing we do, and they don't.
No.
So our job is just to be consistent enough with our content, even if it's 2 to 3 posts a week, being visible in Facebook groups, taking advantage of those networking opportunities and communities, and drawing people off that online
Mhm.
space onto a list because it's a business asset. Just
Yeah.
as you said, it is one of the few things we actually own. And when Facebook and Instagram went dark a couple of years ago, I think it was for
Mhm.
like a 36-hour period.
Yeah.
Um, I'm in the Meta Leaders Network and I have been for years. When the lights came back on, there were thousands of small business owners that lost a lot of money because they
Yeah.
had no way to reach their ideal clients
Yep.
and continue to bring sales in. But one of my mentors didn't even realize it was down for 36 hours because she has a team and they take care of it for her. But they sent a couple of emails about a
Yep.
program she had, made $14,000.
Yep.
So, I was talking about this same topic with a room full of podcasters last fall at one of the podcast conferences, and I gave them that example, and I said to them, "Which one do you want to be? Do you want
Yeah.
to be the one that lost a lot of money, or do you want to be the one that made $14,000 and didn't have to worry about social media?"
Yeah.
what I love about the inbox is that I feel like when I get an email from you, I feel like you have landed in my living room. Like literally,
Yeah.
you are here in my house with me and we're going to make a connection and have a discussion.
Mhm.
And so if you visualize you are landing in your client's living room,
Yeah.
they're going to see your email. Hopefully it doesn't go to the spam folder, but there are ways to
Yeah.
combat that and keep that from happening, and you give them a really fun subject line, they're going to open your email. And
Yeah.
that is one of the best ways to deepen that know, like, and trust factor that is crucial to converting them into buyers. We
Yeah.
want to continually be emailing them, and it doesn't have to be anything that's got sparklers and fireworks attached to it. We
Nope.
get so up in our head about what am I going to email them? Are they going to like it? Da 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 da. No, don't put that pressure on yourself. Just be you.
Yeah.
Tell them something about you that you are comfortable sharing, and then give them some great education, maybe a
Mhm.
podcast that you were on or a tip about something. Come back the next week and do it again. Doesn't have to
Yeah.
be difficult.
Yeah. That's exactly it. And I think it's that pressure piece that gets to people is,
Mhm.
well, what am I going to email though? What am I going to
Right.
say? And I
Right.
always tell them, I'm just like, just talk to them. Just
Hmm.
talk to people. When I go to write my emails, I just type out what I'm thinking in my head, not like I'm talking to someone. Like that's literally how I write
Yep.
my emails.
Yep.
And I've been told many times, like it comes across that way. Like it's just,
Hmm.
I'm having a conversation with you. Here's what I want to
Hmm.
say.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm kind of crazy. I email my list like 3 times a week because I like talking to them, but I still have really good open rates. And
Hmm.
it's because I just talk about normal things. Like I'm not selling all the time. I'm not, it's just
Right.
like creating that connection and like
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
talking to people normally. Like that's all that you have to do.
Exactly. And that relationship building is
Hmm.
the key to sales.
Yep.
That's why I had an award-winning sales career for over 20 years. I
Yeah.
did not focus on the sale. I did not focus on the
Yep.
transaction. I did not focus on whether or not I'm going to make any money or they're going to buy my thing.
Yeah.
What I focused on was making a connection and
Yep.
building a relationship. And in the online space, there's two places to do that, in the email list and in the DMs.
Yep.
And either one is great. But again, in the DMs, if they're not on your list and that platform disappears, there goes your business.
You've lost them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we can really deepen that know, like, and trust factor and build that relationship.
Hmm.
And there's so many fun ways to get your audience to reply back to you.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's where it gets really fun.
Yeah.
So like I sent an email at the first of 2025, and it was my regular email. And at the bottom in the PS, I thought, I'll just see if this is going to work. And I said something like, are you like most people and you spent the majority of 2024 talking crap to yourself about everything you did wrong in your business? Well, I've got a less than 1 minute exercise that's going to help you rewire your brain for success in 2025. Just reply back the word rewire and it's yours. And I had about 25 people, which doesn't feel like a lot, but it felt like it to me,
Yeah.
reply back and want it. And that gave me an opportunity to go, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see you. Yes, here's the freebie. By the
Hmm.
way, how are you? And
Yeah.
what do you have on deck for 2025? And we were able to have
Yeah.
conversations. And I had a couple of people that were like, I can't believe you actually answer your emails. And I'm like, of course I
Yeah.
do. What, can't you tell by the typos and the way I accidentally misspelled your name? That's what
Yeah.
one girl said. I accidentally misspelled her name because it
Yeah.
auto corrected.
Yeah.
And then I had a typo in it, and she goes, "Now I know this is you because you accidentally misspelled my
Yeah.
typo." It was really funny. I was like, "Yeah, it's me. Yep, sure
Yeah.
is."
But I think it surprises people because it's gone so much the other way where it's like, no, like you can't talk to anyone unless they've bought. Like you had to pay me before you can even
Yeah.
ask me questions. And like it's so anti connection almost. And so
Hmm.
if you can be the one that's actually out there building connection, willing to talk to people
Hmm.
and willing to do these things, which I don't know, I think are normal.
Me too. Me too.
Call us crazy, but
I
I
know.
think it's
Call me crazy
normal,
for wanting to get to know my clients and students.
right?
Yeah, I've had people tell me that they're like, "Oh my gosh, you are so refreshing."
Yes.
Because in my programs, like my group coaching program, I think people that are coming into the program really don't believe me when I say I'm going to answer every question you have
Yeah.
and
Oh,
even the
yeah.
questions you don't ask. And they're like, okay, really? Because they're used
Hmm.
to coaches that don't give them the time.
Yeah.
And so then they end up saying, oh my gosh, this is so different and awesome. And thank you
Yeah.
for not being one of those untouchable people
Yes.
that takes your money and doesn't give you the
Yeah.
time. So, yeah, no, I think I hope there's a shift happening. I
I
feel
hope so
like there
too.
is this
Yeah.
year that people are really sick and tired of signing
Yeah.
up for big name programs where they're just a number
Yeah.
and that person is not actually answering every question. There was a gal I talked to the other day who had done a boot camp of a very big name and even did the VIP option where you
Hmm.
were supposed to get a live Q&A.
Yep.
And she waited on Zoom on two of those VIP sessions, waiting for somebody to answer her question because that's the way they marketed it. They didn't answer her question.
Yeah.
And I thought, that just breaks my heart,
I know
really.
it's absolutely crazy. And people are paying so much money for
Yeah,
this.
they are.
And that's
That's the other thing that makes me crazy. I'm
oh,
like, if and I had a post that I think made some people mad
whatever.
about a month ago. I said something about because I had just had enough of it. I had enough had
Yes.
had enough of the conversations, heartbreaking
Yeah.
conversations with people that have spent 70, one girl spent $76,000,
Hmm.
has no money to show for it.
Yeah.
Another gal spent 40,000, nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
And I just made a post and I was like, before you spend 8,000, 15,000, $20,000 on something, ask yourself, is the
Yeah.
person that I'm paying actually going to answer every question and give me their time? And if they're not, you need to go find somebody that
Yeah.
will.
Don't do it.
No. So, okay, I need to get off my soapbox on that.
No, but it's so true. And I do think that it's shifting as well, but
I hope it is.
it's just it's so sad that that even started to be a thing
Yeah,
because I I can't understand doing that to anyone
I
because
can't
I
either. I
it
can't
just
either.
goes against anything that I would ever do.
For sure. And it makes it more difficult on people like you and I
Hmm.
that are honest and ethical and don't charge a fortune and really just want to
Yeah.
make a difference. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy. But anyways, so yeah, I do think though, coming back to this, if you being willing to actually make those connections makes such a
Mhm.
huge difference because that is what's going to stand out in this time. You're going to actually, you know, be able to have your business long term because
Right.
all of that shit that's been happening is not like people are over it.
Yeah.
They are done with that stuff and they want to know that you're actually going to be there for them.
Yep. And they talk. This online space is
Yep.
way smaller than people realize.
Oh yeah.
And credibility and reputation is everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, people talk.
Yeah. And I think another thing that's interesting is when you said about the 25 people, and this is something that I talk to clients and just in general about a lot, even though, because this is another thing that we hear about so often are
Mhm.
always huge numbers of everything. If it's not like thousands, we think that it's not enough.
Right.
But in reality, 25 people responding back to you,
Hmm.
that's a lot of people. And like,
Yes.
what I always say to clients too is how many can you realistically work with one on one or
Right.
in however many programs, whatever your programs look like
Yeah.
at one time?
Yeah. I just picture them standing in my kitchen.
Exactly.
25 people standing in my kitchen. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, holy cow. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm also a quality over quantity girl.
Yes.
When I first started out, I thought in order to have an over six-figure a year business, that I would have to grow my list to like 8,000, 10,000
Oh, yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Or I'd have to be one of those people on Instagram that goes viral and gets like
Hmm.
10,000 followers or something like that. And I quickly realized that that's crap. And I don't. because I do have that kind of a business and I've had it
Mhm.
since the second full year of building my business. And my list, this shocks people. My list hovers between 3,500 and 4,500,
Yeah.
depending on if I'm in promotion or not. Like we just wrapped up launch number 10. So my list grew a lot during that time. But some of
Hmm.
those people are going to unsubscribe. And when
Yeah.
they do, I'm going to take them off my list because I keep my list clean. There are some people that'll say, oh, I have 15,000 people on my list. And I'm always like, how many unsubscribes do you have that you haven't cleaned out? I want to know
Well,
how
yeah.
have that list. And Instagram, I don't even know because I don't use, the only reason why I'm on Instagram is because I have an assistant. So I have like maybe 3,600 followers or something.
Yeah.
Um, and so I don't even look at the vanity metrics because here's
Yeah.
another interesting thing. There was a gal that hired me last summer to help her build her business. Now, it
Hmm.
turns out she ended up not wanting to build an online business, so we didn't coach anymore after that first initial few months together. She had 600,000 people following her on Instagram,
Yeah.
and she was making $0.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, we do not have to have large numbers. What we need to have is people that truly want to be with us, people
Hmm.
that love what we do, people that will shout our name from the rooftops after we've made a difference for them and
Hmm.
build on that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have seen the same thing, and it's really interesting being on the other side of that
Mhm.
because you always see this messaging where, you have to have these gigantic numbers and that's
Yep.
the only way you're going to be successful. And it's like,
Yep.
but if you really know what's going on, it's like,
Exactly.
no, that doesn't actually correspond with anything,
Right.
correlate with
Yeah.
anything. Like it's not just because you have however many followers, it doesn't equal money in the bank.
No, it doesn't. Not at
Like
all.
that's not what happens.
Mm-mm.
It's
No, and if we're
so,
not careful, we'll get sucked into the marketing of the one thing that on this same vein, the other thing I see that is troubling is the income reportings without being completely transparent about the expenses involved. So,
yes.
if I had $100,000 launch and I
Hmm.
had $80,000 in expenses, I made $20,000.
Yeah.
But if the person next to me has a $30,000 launch with $10,000 in expenses, she also made $20,000.
Yeah.
But what happens is she looks at me and says, "Why can't I be like that? My launch sucked. I only made this much money." But what she doesn't know is how much I netted.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really important not to get caught up in these vanity numbers and
Hmm.
just remind ourselves of, okay, that's cool. They've got 100 million downloads on their podcast. Is that translating into money? They've
Yeah.
got 15,000 followers on Instagram. How much money are you making? Or they had $100,000 launch. Okay, cool. Let me see your P&L. I want to see what your expenses were.
Exactly.
So we
Yeah.
just really, if because I made that mistake in the beginning, I just didn't know
Yeah.
any better. I got sucked into it. And
Yeah.
there was a gal in a program that I was in, and she had a launch. And the big name that was running the program was big on having a $10,000 launch.
Yeah.
$10,000. You got to make $10,000, $10,000 launch. This gal made $7,000.
Hmm.
And I was so excited for her. We were talking in the
Yeah.
DMs. I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. And she goes, you know what? Because I thought I needed to make $10,000, I ended up getting so depressed that I shut down my business and she went into therapy. And my heart broke. I was like, we have got to have more honest conversations about this stuff, about what really works, what
Yes.
really moves the needle. Gosh, I got on another soapbox. I'm so sorry.
No, but
I am fiery today.
it's so true. And I think that this is so important. And it's especially in terms of even talking about like the launch
Yeah.
conversation. When we look at that, and I think it's also looking at, okay, so you have this $10,000 or 7,000, whatever coming in. Is that
Hmm.
one time?
Correct. Right.
That's
Yeah.
the other thing that I think a lot of people don't
Mhm.
see. And I love talking about like recurring revenue. How are you
Yes.
building that in your business? Because that's how you're going
Right.
to sustain it long term. It is
Exactly.
not by having these one-time launches that are just bringing in cash injections. That's fine every once in a while, but that is not going to build you a sustainable business.
Right. Right.
And
For
there's just
sure.
there's so many of these conversations that aren't being had because people are chasing these big numbers on
Mhm.
everything
Yeah,
because they look flashy, it looks good, it's
right.
exciting.
Hmm.
And then, like you said, they get depressed, or you get like, you feel bad about yourself because you didn't hit that and you
Hmm.
think that you failed. And the reality is, not a lot of like what the messaging that's out there is so messed up. And I made a
Yeah,
post about
I
this the other
agree.
day. Even with what's out there, there's not a lot of people that are like, no one's having overnight results. No
Right.
one,
Oh,
like,
oh,
this shit isn't happening.
right. Right. Yeah.
And that's the
Yeah,
other frustrating thing.
for sure. Yeah. People, there's a lot of marketing messaging out there about, you know, getting into the online space and how easy it is
Yep.
and how cheap it is. And here's the thing. It
Yeah.
is easier in some
Yep.
respects than opening a brick and mortar franchise,
Oh, yeah.
and it is less expensive in a lot of ways than opening a brick and mortar franchise.
Oh, yeah.
But nobody's talking about the fact that it is still work, it is
Yes.
still hard, there is a big learning curve, and there
Yep.
are expenses.
Yeah.
They just don't plan on it. They don't understand that the
Mm.
tech requires money and a learning curve. I didn't. I was like,
Yeah.
I come into this with my, like I said, an award-winning sales career, highly educated woman, and I'm like, okay, I got this. I got a
Yeah.
little cocky, got a little big in my britches, and I was like, I can do this.
Yeah.
And then I quickly learned, I was like, holy cow.
Yeah.
I felt like I needed a decoder ring to figure out what the heck everybody was talking about. Funnels, landing pages, sales
Yeah.
pages, offer creation, tech stacks, Kajabi. I'm like, what is Kajabi? What is this? And so there's just that part we don't talk about enough either, I don't think. And
Hmm.
helping each other feel better about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And I absolutely love having these conversations. I'm all for it. I don't care what anyone thinks. I am so for it because it has to be talked about because there's
Yeah.
so many people that see this and they're like, "Oh, that would be so easy." And then it opens up the conversation to, "I'll just quit my job now and open my,"
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Do not. Do not."
Right.
I
Right.
literally I nursed for, well, I've only been out, I stopped nursing about a year and a half ago, but
Mhm.
it's been almost 5 years now that had my I had a fitness business before this one, but that owned businesses. And
Mhm.
so it was 3.5 years that I nursed at the same time as building my businesses. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
it is not this all in conversation of you're not all in unless you go all in only on your business is bullshit. Like, don't do
Yeah.
that. That I
Right.
can't. I cannot
Right.
handle it. Like, don't do that.
I love it. Well, oh my gosh, I feel like I've gotten on two or three different soapboxes, and none of
Okay,
them
it's
we ended
good.
up not really talking much about list growth and visibility.
But I think it was the conversation that we
It,
needed.
it needed to
I
be had.
feel I
Yep.
feel it needed to be had. So what's one last thing that you'd like to leave everyone with
As if I
after the tangent of topics?
as if I haven't ranted enough today. They're probably like, "Oh my God." I hope they're still listening. Let me just say that.
Oh,
If
they
they're
will
not,
be. People love the rants. It's fun.
so the thing that I would leave people with is something that I say all the time. Patience and consistency. I call them the wonder twins of business growth.
Hmm.
And again, it's something that people don't realize that they need to understand that building in the online space, you can do it. You can get there. I did it, you did it. We built alongside our full-time jobs, our kids, our stuff, our dogs, our houses, our husbands,
Hmm.
family, all the things, right? We juggled it, we did it. So if we can do it, they can do it. But coming into the space, and truly with anything in life, we have to be consistent
Yeah.
day in, day out, week in, week out, whether we like it or not. There are some I've been going live every Thursday at 11:30 for years, and now that's the audio for my podcast. And there are
Hmm.
some weeks I don't want to do it. But
Yeah.
I have to just hold my nose. I have to hold my nose and do it anyway because I have a business and I'm the CEO. And so I have to be consistent,
Hmm.
and then I have to be patient. Especially with the organic strategies that I teach.
Yeah.
The free strategies, they are great. They will work. They are proven. but they take time.
Yep.
And that's where
Huge.
we,
Yep.
that's where we start to get upset and we start to doubt
Mhm.
ourselves. Whatever efforts you put in today are going to show up 90 days from now. So if you
Yep.
choose to do nothing, 90 days from now, you're not going to have anything.
Yep.
If you choose to go in and be consistent and patient and get your content out there and ramp up your visibility, that will start to pay off for you 90 days from now.
Hmm.
So patience and consistency.
Yes,
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. Love that. That was great.
Thanks.
Absolutely amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I think that this was such a good conversation.
Thank you so
So
much for
good.
having me. I hope I didn't derail the whole train.
No, no, this was so good. It was
It
so
was
good. It
fun.
was great.
Good.
So
Thanks for
thank you
having me.
so much. And if you listening love the podcast, give it a 5-star rating and review. As always, go after everything that you fucking want and be unapologetic about it.